they just all have this preloaded mindset that just because flat Earth's stupid. And I don't want to bust any of these Globers bubbles, but I actually know more flat earthers that are qualified, been through uni, that are engine shit like that, than I do Globers, or that are claimed anti-FE, I should say. But yeah, it's very interesting when you start weighing.
Yeah, good point. I know a lot of people that believe in flat Earth actually have like high positions that I know sometimes more than the Globies that join in this. Don't really have. I mean, not saying that matters, but you know.
Whereas based off statistics, there should be an even percentage both ways. They're just people at the end of the day. So if the average person, so that means 50% of Globers are out there with PhDs, that means 50% of flat earthers should have PhDs. Whereas when you start talking around, you find out that the percentage of flat earthers are actually higher than the Glober average, which is like, wow.
And then we got specific positions like pilots, that know the world is flat, or they, as they're told to take it as, and as they can fly and they know it can be.
Yeah, I'm noticing that some of the flat earthers that I meet in real life, and I find out they're flat earthers, they tend to hold higher positions, like decent jobs, and usually quite well educated. It's just they're not on Discord, like they're busy working. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't come across them on the online world as much, but when you find out there's so many flat earthers, millions of them, they're all just doing their jobs and living their lives. They're not on, in the community as such. But it doesn't mean that there isn't as many educated flat earthers. It's just not on Discord.
Good point. Exactly.
And TikTok and stuff, they're not on social media.
I just feel bad for people like Gus Grissom, people that like, kind of really didn't say the narrative, but kind of died over certain reasons.
What do you mean?
Did you hear about Gus Grissom?
No.
Oh, he was just, basically saying that, we're not going to go to space with in this bullshit ass rocket, and he put a lemon on it, and it was like a big thing back in that time, and I guess so he went back for another test run with one of his crewmates, and then it caught on fire in their test run. After he did that, after he said that we're not going to space, and he put the lemon on the rocket ship, and then they caught on fire and died, and they couldn't save him in time, I guess. And then his investigator looked into it, and his investigator died as well. He died on a railroad track with his wife and his daughter. They died right on a railroad track because their car supposedly stopped right there and got hit by a train. On their way, also, they were supposed to meet with I think a board for about the investigation as well. At that time, just all crazy stuff. Yeah,
that is crazy. I don't know how I missed that one. Yeah, that's crazy.
I'll push it here. I'll drop the link for you guys. I'm pushing it right now for you. Gotcha.
Good man. Yeah, that's interesting. That's what I mean as well. There's a lot of educated people who are flat earthers who don't even admit that in public, right? They keep it low for these reasons.
Yeah, and also there's videos on that page. They show you the videos of that they got and everything. It's crazy. It's honestly, that's a crazy story right there. They even have a video of the investigator speaking. His name was Thomas Ronald Barron, a quality control and safety inspector.
Scary shit, man. Why would they be targeting flat earthers if it was just ridiculous, right?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? I agree. Why would they target us as we're enemies if it wasn't such of a thing, or to be real? One thing I would question: why isn't it talked about in religions anymore? I mean, religions used to push it back then, but now it's like it's not even spoken on. It just doesn't make sense why that's a thing unless they made a deal with the elites or the hidden hand that hides it.
Well, if you know the history of the church, it becomes quite self-evident what happened.
Actually, if you could explain.
Well, the church was usurped. The church was usurped, and the Jesuit order really became the actual muscle behind the church. They make a lot of the big decisions, and they used the church as a way to introduce the globe to the mainstream, because there was a very long period where people didn't accept the globe. It wasn't until they infiltrated the church and pushed it through the church that it started to be accepted mainstream.
I can see that. Okay.
Yeah. So the leaders of the church, the Catholic Church, pretty much run by the Jesuit order.
Oh yeah, specifically for sure. The Catholic and Jesuits, yeah. I'm sure.
And that's the Vatican, you know.
Yeah. In Italy, correct.
And when you have an organization that's headed, you know, everything else has to fall in line. Otherwise, you know, they're isolated, ostracized, or whatever. So it's very easy now to control the messaging of the church.
What do you think about the other ones like Hinduism, or do you still think they promote it, or like people that still believe in the Mayan culture? Like, I'm sure they know things of that nature, but they just don't really speak on it maybe too much. I mean, maybe because the new narrative is just too like overwhelming. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just making assumptions right now.
Well, this is the state, isn't it? This is the state of religion. Religion's in a crisis because the cosmologies of Hinduism, the Hebrew cosmology, they're all flat Earth cosmologies. So they're actually going against the original, you know, teachings and understandings. The descriptions are of a flat Earth cosmology. So there's a crisis, and this is why I would argue this is all by design, and this is why so many people turn to atheism, because there is no consistency within the hierarchy of religion now.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's a shame, but at the same time, you know, you shouldn't need an institution to rally your belief system, right? I mean,
True.
How many scriptures state that the house of God is within and that your relationship with God is personal, yet they still, you know, follow the teachings of the church. The church is the problem, not not the books, not the religion, not the cosmology. It's the church that's the problem.
Totally agree with you. Because whatever they're pushing as the authority, basically, then they're going to follow. Most of the time, they recycle the same information in the churches, and they don't really get to anything that alludes to flat Earth or anything of that, or what it really speaks about.
Yeah, the further back you go, the flatter it gets, and the more obviously flat it gets, right? It's not until you get to the 1800s, really, that you start to see this shift, and it happens to coincide with the Masonic order sort of infiltrating the church through, I argue, the Jesuits. So for me, it's in the timeline all matches up, really. The infiltration, the councils, yeah. I mean, look, time's a problem, the calendar's a problem, but you know, it makes sense. You see the order of business and how they pulled this off.
Wow, and this is the thing about that, as they sat down and all planned this out back then in the ancient times.
Yeah, and I don't think it's that far fetched, really.
No, not at all.
I think prophecy is just good pattern recognition. I think by understanding history and how societies rise and fall, you can really predict, you know, behaviors, and you can steer it. You know, you can sort of counteract things, and you're able to sort of manage that, you know, that the momentum of a society. So I don't think it's fetched to say they went that far back to plan it. I think, you know, anyone who knows pattern recognition knows what's coming.
Hey, Roots, I was going to say, Fanseeboots has a question in the chat. I think if you want, Fansy, you can get on the mic now. We were waiting for you.
Waiting for me? Okay, I'm sorry. I couldn't just stir up some ruckus.
Go ahead, no, it's okay.
No, we were discussing that maybe it's not a shadow. So I'm kind of still reading the chat.
I'm sorry, what was your argument?
So yeah, like he said, in a lunar eclipse, the Earth's shadow on the moon is probably not the Earth's shadow. So I'm saying, like, okay, well, that would make sense because, well, the Earth's not blocking the sun to project the shadow. So then, like, what are we assuming it to be, or what are we observing it to be? If, like, during a lunar eclipse, we're looking at the moon's got these, it's absorbing light differently from whatever its source is, kind of skewed. So we see that it has kind of like a moon cut out over it on the moon. Yeah, that makes great. I put an image in the side chat so that way it doesn't sound like I'm full of shit. And this is kind of interesting to me. I mean, so in science they'll say, okay, yeah, this moon looks this way because the Earth's shadow and the sun and those two things are before each other after the moon, so that's why the moon looks this way. So we got Sports DE says, well, it's probably not a shadow at all. So okay, if it's not a shadow at all, then what do we claim that we're observing?
Well, Sporadic makes a good point. You know, since when has a shadow been red? You know, shadow is an absence of light, so we wouldn't see color. But also, I'd highlight the lunar eclipses where the shadow is coming from the top down, or from the top left, or the top right. If the Earth is what's causing the shadow, then how can the shadow be coming from an angle from above? If
No,
what is
I
correct.
agree. I mean, I'm in the same boat. I'm just trying to say, like,
Right.
I think there has to be some sort of, at least from an observation point of view, a logical answer. Because, like, obviously, a solar eclipse, you could watch that, and it's all very self-explanatory. A lunar eclipse, it's not so favorable from a flat Earth point of view.
But it's not favorable for a globe either, because it doesn't make logical sense that we're seeing the shadow
Cutting out
not
awfully.
No, that's interesting how you said the solar eclipse is self-explanatory, because that's what flat smacked me. When I was arguing with flat earthers, going back and forth, the eclipse was coming up, the 2017 one, and I said, how are you guys going to explain this? They go, how about this? You look, just
Easy.
whatever you observe, just write down everything you see, hear, smell, taste, all of it. Take the whole event in and come back with what you think proves heliocentric, and we'll say what we think proves flat Earth. And really, I did it. I was right under totalitarian, whatever it's called, and there was nothing there. It was like the sun was there, then there was nothing, just a sun. Then out of nowhere, something blocked it, and then that thing moved all the way. I didn't see the moon before. I didn't see the moon after. All I saw was
glasses, mate.
No, I wore those. Yeah.
Oh, so you should have been able to see everything.
No, you don't see the sun. All that happens is that the sun goes black, and there's kind of a ring around it.
Oh, that's a poor description.
Yeah. What do you see?
No. Well, you wear the glasses, or you could use your phone. If you use your camera, you're not going to burn your retina. So, like a lot of people at work, what they did was they took their really good Samsung phone out and made a video of like the whole thing, right? So you can kind of watch the eclipse as it gradually happens. Like the moon will sneak in over the sun.
Yeah. Where do you see the moon in there? How do you know that's the moon? Where did that come from?
Well, if the moon was anywhere else over Earth, you would be able to observe it from a different point.
Yeah, you didn't see it at all.
That's how we know it's the moon.
The eclipse only happened on a new moon, where you don't see the moon. Nowhere on Earth. The full 24 hours before any eclipse, the moon is not visible anywhere on Earth.
Can you show me where you found this to be true?
Okay, see, this is the best part.
I'm really curious about that. Like,
you haven't looked into it. You think it's self-explanatory, and you didn't even use yourself to explain what you saw. It's a hard contradiction.
I'm gonna be relying on myself.
It's a hard. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Use you in the Earth. You don't need anything else. You don't need me. You don't need ROOTZ. You don't need anything else. When you saw the solar eclipse, how did you determine that was the moon blocking the sun? How did you do that?
It just made the most sense to you.
Okay, which sense? Eyes, ears, nose. Which sense did you use?
I mean, so you're telling me that's in a new cycle.
Yeah,
and this is what makes most sense to you.
Every time there's a solar eclipse, it has to coincide with a new moon cycle, where the moon is invisible from Earth. Yes, that is a fact. That is a straight fact. So when you said it makes sense because no one else saw the moon anywhere on Earth, either A, you didn't understand what you saw, or B, you're horribly uneducated in the cycles of the moon.
Sentinel for a solar eclipse to happen. All right. So I mean, like what you're saying is great, but it's the same thing the scientific community says. So like we're back to square one now.
So what do? You go with you. You go with you and your observations.
No. We can't go with you and just your observations because we're over here.
That's where you start. You start with you. You start with you and what you observe.
Here's why that.
Then you share that. Then you share that with other people. And you're like, what did you observe? Well, I observed this. I observed something very similar. So your original observation was that was the moon, and now you realize it couldn't have been the moon. The moon is not visible at that time of the cycle. So the solar eclipse uniquely factors out the moon as a possible source of blocking the sun. The moon is not visible.
That's interesting. So the answer is because it's in its new moon phase. This will be the only time it's going to be in that position. Whether this is for a solar eclipse. I wonder if it's the same for a lunar. But the observation of it ellipsing over the sun is just explained through observation.
So how about we go back to the ground now? That's where the surface of the Earth, where you'd measure the surface of the Earth.
Yeah, that was going to be my original response. Like, focusing on the sky doesn't help us answer the question of the surface of the Earth. All you're doing is correlating and assuming.
A very large
channel is great for doesn't do great at kind of explaining to the rest of society, hey, why do you think the world is flat? I mean, yeah, you observed it to be flat. There's a lot of people that just don't swallow that as fact. A lot.
Yeah, but it's not our problem. That's their problem. The question is, why do they refute empirical evidence? Why do they believe things that there is zero verification of? Why
Because
are
you're
people
shit at
like this?
explaining all the other reasonings
No.
that go into having a flat Earth, mate. Period.
No, there's so many different.
That's exactly the
There's
reason
so
why.
many types of flat earthers. You can get the guys who will engage in the high level discussions. You get the guys who do the sound bits. There's so many different types of flat earthers. It's not a problem with us. It's a problem with them and their belief in relativity. Relativity, like a magic spell, has been.
There
No,
you go.
you guys now believe. You guys now believe that we can deny reality, that we can deny empiricism in the face of philosophy, and that's what relativity's done to people. That's why the arguments don't stick. Blame Einstein, not us.
I mean, there's a slew of other questions that come along with, hey, okay, the world's flat now. Well, then how do we explain all these other mechanisms that were explained through a round Earth model? And that's important. I don't see how that's not important.
How is relativity more important than empiricism?
Okay, no.
Justify
you're
that.
asking me something else. No, I'm asking. So my question about, let's say, for instance, this lunar eclipse. This has nothing to do with the Earth being flat around, is what you're saying.
Sorry, I missed what you said. Apologies.
So, in an instance of like this lunar eclipse, this observation has nothing to do with the world being flat around. So, we could just write it off as, well, it's whatever it is. We don't know.
No, it's a good data point because it definitely debunks the claim that the moon was in front of the sun. It's a hard counter.
Right. Which debunks the heliocentric model.
So if you use their lore, that's the best part. If you jump into the globalist worldview, there is so many contradictions, like ever expanding and contracting at the same time. Or they'll tell you the Coriolis force dictates the directions of the storm, and then they show you Jupiter's storm spinning the wrong direction that Coriolis would dictate. So internally, if you use a globalist worldview internally, it is chock full of contradictions, which explains why they would lie. If they can get the person to accept the contradiction, they can get them to accept anything. War is peace, up is down, right is wrong, good is evil, all of it. It's a way of mind control. Voltaire said it best. If you can get someone to believe in absurdity, they'll commit atrocity.
If you can point out the absurdity, you
I just named like 5 things.
No, you did not.
Yeah, so number one, that
you said the Coriolis effect on Jupiter, that doesn't prove.
Yeah, it spins the wrong direction. What direction should the storm on Jupiter spin if Coriolis is true?
Spinning does not matter on Earth. Like, there's no Coriolis effect on the southern hemisphere versus northern hemisphere. You can see this like with toilet flushes.
You are horribly uneducated in this topic. Horribly uneducated. I gave you a little bit of charity that maybe you just didn't understand what you were looking at.
Well, I'm here to get educated.
You've brain farted eclipses and the Coriolis now. I'm not here to educate you. Where did that come from? Where did you think that you click on this channel and the purpose is to provide you with a free education? Absolutely not. In fact, I prefer people to be dumb and stupid because at least they're only harming themselves.
Wow. So it's like a boasting channel?
No.
I'm boasting that the world is flat then?
No, it's not at all. It's about talking about the Earth and sharing these ideas with other people. It's not about teaching. It's not about explaining anything. If you want explanations, just go down to the village idiot. You'll fit right in.
No. Explain how the Coriolis effect.
I don't need to explain it to you. You would have to know this already to be in a conversation. You would need to know this already. That would be something you would already know. Then we could talk about it. You don't know about it, therefore we can't talk about it.
I could literally find out in 4 minutes all about the Coriolis.
Yeah, we call it instant expert syndrome.
In like 4 minutes. But it will not be the same thing that I find out in 4 minutes what you're talking about. I can't go find out what you were talking about in 4 minutes. So I can't hear that excuse. Here.
So how does your Coriolis thing start off? The apparent what?
He doesn't know. He's completely clueless.
Hey, I'll tell you why you can't figure this out in 4 minutes, because what you can figure out in 4 minutes is content. It takes a lot more to figure out that we're talking about the context. And a lot of the evidences that you guys think are for the globe are actually flat Earth evidences. It's just the context in which you apply this evidence.
But you won't bother.
Fallacious.
But you won't bother.
Appeal to motive, logical fallacy. So not only are you very uneducated in this stuff, you're also thinking very fallacious. You just demonstrated the point I was making. You either don't care
you didn't demonstrate anything about flat Earth,
don't know.
which is the name of this channel, damn it.
Yeah, which is what? What's flat Earth?
Come on, play the game.
Two words there, flat and Earth. Which one of those words are sky?
Which one of those had anything to do with the Coriolis effect?
Which one? Yeah, but I told you internally, when you evaluate the globe internally. So you're not listening either. So A, you're not paying attention. You don't know the content.
I'm reading this on Google.
It's given to you. Even when the content is spoon-feeded to you, you brain fart it. You're bricked. But just move on to another caller.
Get out of your feelings.
Instead of just moving on to another caller. You're too far gone.
All right, we'll talk about something other than Coriolis. How about that?
You don't know anything to talk about.
Neither do
There's
you.
no-
You
I
just
have no,
said you
I have
observe it's
no
flat.
question, no questions for
And
you.
that's it. That's all you got. I've got like a million questions.
Observe
You
it
guys have
flat.
like one
It's also
observation.
measured flat.
Okay,
Impractical
it's measured
demonstration, yeah.
and observed flat, therefore it's flat. Fuck the Coriolis. Fuck the lunar eclipse.
Okay, let's just get this straight. It's observed flat. It's measured flat. How can you have a ball if you don't have any curvature?
So
Well, it's funny,
here's some of the questions
but
that we have to answer.
a
before
ball
you get
sort of
flat
needs
Earth.
one major component, fucking curvature. So let's try again. It's observed flat. It's measured flat. How can you have a ball without any curvature?
All right, so here we go. How do we know the Earth is round? And you have to debunk these topics.
We're going to try again because obviously you don't want to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth.
I heard you. You said it's measured flat. It's observed,
It's observed flat.
So it's flat.
Measured flat.
You said
So
it like 5 times.
how do you have a ball with zero curvature? The correct answer is you can't. So unless you can prove curvature, measured drop over distance, anything you say is probably just going to go fucking sideways out the door.
Mm.
Because we're going outside in the real world doing laser tests and shit like that and measuring stuff all curvature. So unless you go out in the real world and do a laser test and go, oh wow, I did measure some curvature. I'm going to go back and show these guys. Come back, show us, repeat it. And then we'll go, well, look at me. He measured drop over distance.
They've got laser, what do you call it? Fucking gyroscope. Was it laser gyroscope that's supposed to record the movement of the Earth under, like, oh, the Earth's
Like
moving
you said,
1,000 miles
supposed
an hour.
to. That's
They
awesome.
observe this through some sort of weird laser tool.
So that measures curvature?
No.
No. That's what I thought. So you still don't have a ball yet? Awesome.
Well,
You
you're
need just
one.
curvature for the
You
ball.
can't hang
You
on
need your
to one
ball.
fact.
You need curvature to have a ball.
You can't hang on to one fact and say, see, look at that. It's flat.
Okay. You
don't
can't
look like
hang
that.
on to one fact. The only one fact you need is curvature for a ball. A sphere. You need curvature for a sphere. I don't want to be a stick in the mud, but if you don't got curvature, you don't got a ball. You do understand the simplicity of this, don't you? No
Yeah,
curvature,
that's why I'm
no
here,
ball.
dude. I mean, like, holy shit. Well, I'm trying to get you guys to answer more than one question.
Well, we're trying to get you to understand there ain't no fucking curvature.
But okay, I understand that. But now I have more questions because now the curvature is gone.
Excellent. So no ball then. Cool. Welcome to Flat Earth. Please ask your silly questions. This is where they normally come in.
Right.
Was that Lion? Was trying to jump in earlier? I missed it. I'm tapped out. I heard his voice. No, he's not here. Okay.
What was it? I said, So look, man, if you Google this, you say proof the Earth is round. It's going to give you 3 sets or 3 key points. The last one, which is right off, you could write that one off because it doesn't really count. The round shape, casting a shadow during a lunar eclipse. I've still been trying to get an answer for that.
Okay, stop. Hold there. Shadows
No, you
during
listen to the
lunar
fucking
eclipses.
points.
No,
Shut up.
let's scroll back up. Scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up. Let's have a look
Yeah,
here.
fuck this.
38 minutes past the hour. Right. 39 minutes past the hour. Did he just leave? Fucking coward.
I mean, good riddance. The dude's worthless.
It's a waste of time because he knows what was at 39 past the hour. A
Yeah, it's
ball casting a shadow on another ball card and not producing the effect that he wants to see.
He had no idea about the solar eclipse. That was his self-explanatory event. His whole shtick was the majority of the people think the Earth is a globe, therefore the Earth is a globe. That's all you were working with. You couldn't get that's as best as you're going to get from that guy. Most people don't believe flat Earth, and most people do believe globe. Therefore, the only conclusion that could possibly be is the Earth is a globe, or it's not a flat. He'll start looking at flat Earth once 51% of the people believe it, and then he won't understand that either. He'll just switch. Whatever 51% of the people believe, he'll switch and won't understand either idea, any of them.
It'd have to come up on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah, come up at 6 o'clock news. Scientists say the Earth is flat. He's like, oh, cool, the Earth is flat. And he could go into Globe Earth servers and say, how come everyone says the Earth is flat and you guys say it's a globe? Like, you roll the clock back to like the 1500s. He's the one guy saying, you're wrong, Catholic Church. Everyone else thinks the Earth is flat.